Whether you're a high school, college, professional athlete, or a weekend warrior, you know that stretching is just part of the program. It's hammered into us from day one. You gotta stretch before and after. The reality is that it's essentially worthless, and at best way overrated. Today we're going to give you the truth about stretching for athletes. Hey, it's Glenn here from Mehab, the world's leading physical therapy alternative, where we educate and empower you to take control of your recovery. If you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button, and all the links mentioned in the video can be found below. As always, this information is meant for education and demonstration purposes only. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Hopefully you've already seen our first video about what really happens when you stretch, but if not, I'll link it in the description below. There are so many reasons why athletes are told to stretch, and today we're going to debunk all of them. Myth number 1, stretching is a good warm-up. Muscles cannot be warmed up by stretching them. Don't believe me? Go grab a piece of chicken from the fridge and start pulling on it, but make sure you stop before it gets too hot to handle. Warming up is a good thing. It should be encouraged. It has been proven to help prepare the body for activity, increase awareness, and decrease injuries. Muscle contraction, aka just moving, will do all those things. The mechanics of contraction will literally warm up the muscles from the inside out. The best warm-up is a lower level performance of the activity you're about to do. Want to warm up for a run? First start with a walk, then walk briskly, then a light jog. Now you can run. A warm-up program called the 11+ program from FIFA, which is one of the most studied warm-up programs ever, has proven to be very effective, despite not including any stretching. So please stop trying to warm up for your run or game by stretching. Just start low and increase slowly. Key points. Stretching does not warm up tissue. Prepare for activity by starting low and increasing slowly. Myth number 2. Stretching decreases soreness or speeds recovery. When people are new to exercise or push their bodies hard, they'll experience a phenomenon called DOMS, which stands for delayed onset muscle soreness. Often stretching is recommended to decrease that soreness and speed recovery. A rat study in 2014 did find some decrease in inflammatory markers in connective tissue, not muscle, with stretching. The problem is that it's just one study and it has never been duplicated to date, and it is done on rats, which does not always correlate to humans. Additionally, they looked at connective tissue when DOMS is primarily related to muscle and not connective tissue. Additionally, several actual human studies have found absolutely no difference in DOMS with stretching, or for that matter, cryotherapy, aka icing, homeopathy, ultrasound, or electrical stimulation, a topic for another day. Key points. Stretching does not decrease soreness. Stretching does not speed recovery. Myth number 3. Stretching prevents injury. Despite its common belief, this claim is just not supported by evidence. Even the reasoning for why it could decrease injury is flawed. It's often claimed that longer muscles are less likely to get strained, but we already know that stretching doesn't change tissue length. Several studies have examined this claim, including a study in 2001 that looked at 2,700 participants who either stretched or didn't stretch before running. In that study, participants had the same injury rates whether they stretched or not. Another study in 2014 from the British Journal of Sports Medicine reported that stretching had no favorable effect on injury prevention. Key points. Stretching has not been proven to prevent injury. The reason why stretching would decrease injury is flawed. Stretching fixes injuries. If you've watched any of our other videos, you'll see me mention this quite often. Take for example plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, or hamstring strain where overstretching is blamed for the injury and pain. Side note, that's not exactly the reason, but now they want you to believe that stretching is going to fix it. It doesn't make any sense. Stretching is mostly used in recovery settings like physical therapy because it's just what's always been done. You will often hear descriptions of shortened, tight, overstretched issues leading to muscle imbalance. Therapists are trained to find these issues. However, the reality is that it's very rare that these nuances are of any clinical relevance. Most of these issues are usually subjective opinion with little objective data to support them. Stretching to increase flexibility for the purpose of a meaningful function is appropriate. For example, if you have a major loss of motion of reaching overhead that limits your daily activities, that is a meaningful functional goal to target. It is important to remember you're not changing tissue length, just your tolerance to tissue extensibility. While limited motion can disrupt functional movements, it rarely causes injury or limits healing. Key points. Stretching does not aid in healing. Lack of motion does not usually cause injury or delay recovery. Myth number 5. Stretching improves performance. Several studies have looked at sports performance with stretching before activity, and the results are not promising. Not only has it shown no positive effect on performance, it has been shown to possibly decrease strength and speed. A study in 2017 found, and I quote, "Acute stretching can reduce running economy and performance for up to an hour by diminishing the musculotendinous stiffness and elastic energy." Having increased tendon stiffness helps to increase force transfer into a movement. It's kind of like using a crowbar versus a pool noodle. The rigid crowbar can transfer force directly to the target object. Force transfer is lost in the flexibility of the pool noodle, so it can't move much of anything. Elastic energy is energy that is stored in an object when it's deformed. For example, new elastic will snap back forcefully and quickly to its original shape, whereas old elastic may not snap back to its original length and not with the same amount of force as the new elastic. The elastic energy can be used for movement, thus the more elastic energy we can store, the more it assists. Key points. Stretching at best does not improve performance. Stretching appears to diminish speed and strength, therefore decreasing performance. Stretching in general has just never stood up to the scrutiny of the scientific community. Athletes are no different, and in fact stretching for elite athletes may be even less recommended, as at those levels even small performance decreases can have a noticeable impact on performance outcomes. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.